you're about to walk into a home that breathes, not metaphorically, literally. A structure so intelligent, it filters its own air, recycles its own waste, and exists in such perfect harmony with the earth beneath it that you'll question everything you thought you knew about what a house should be. This isn't science fiction. This is the Biofilter Barndominium. And by the end of this story, you're going to want to burn your blueprints and start over. Picture this, somewhere between the romance of a rustic barn and the sleek minimalism of modern architecture, there's a whisper of revolution happening. It's quiet, it's profound, and it's changing the way we think about shelter itself. The barndominium movement started innocently enough, people converting old barns into living spaces or building new structures that mimicked that wide-open, honest aesthetic. High ceilings, exposed beams, that sense of space that makes your lungs expand just walking through the door. But then someone asked a question that changed everything. What if the building could heal itself? What if it could clean the air we breathe? What if our homes didn't just sit on the land, but worked with it? And that's where our story really begins. The Biofilter Barndominium isn't just a place to live. It's a living system. Imagine walking into your home after a long day, and instead of stale recycled air from an HVAC unit, you're breathing air that's been filtered through living organisms. Plants, beneficial bacteria, natural materials that don't just move air around, they transform it. They take what's toxic and make it pure. They take what's waste and make it nourishment. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it's a simple way to show your love for these incredible designs. Your walls aren't just walls anymore. They're lungs. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds expensive, complicated, like something only available to the ultra-wealthy with their eco-estates in Montana or Colorado. But here's where the story gets interesting. The beauty of the barndominium structure is that it's fundamentally simple. Steel frame or post-in beam construction, open floor plans, reduced material waste. And when you layer in biofilter technology, you're not adding complexity. You're adding intelligence. Let me paint you the picture of how this actually works, because it's almost poetic in its elegance. The foundation of an biofilter barndominium starts below ground. We're talking about an integrated gray water system that doesn't just drain away your shower water and send it to some treatment plant miles away. No, it channels that water through beds of gravel, sand, and specialized plants whose roots are hungry for the nutrients in that water. The water passes through, filtered naturally, and can be reused for irrigation or even cycled back through the system. You're not just conserving water. You're completing a circle. Above ground, the magic continues. The walls themselves can be constructed with hempcrete or other bio-based materials that aren't just carbon neutral. They're carbon negative. These materials actually trap carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and lock it away. Your home becomes a carbon sink. Every wall, a small act of healing for the planet. But we're just getting started. The real innovation, the thing that makes you stop and stare, is the integrated bio-wall system. Picture this. Sections of your interior walls that are alive. Vertical gardens built into the structure, but not in that ornamental way you've seen in trendy restaurants. These are functional. Formaldehyde from furniture? Gone. Carbon dioxide buildup? Converted to oxygen. The chemical off-gassing that happens in every conventional home. That invisible poison we've all just accepted as normal? Neutralized by nature doing what nature does best. And here's where it gets emotional, where the story becomes personal. Think about the children growing up in these homes. Think about the lungs that never have to struggle against invisible toxins. Think about the elderly, the asthmatic, anyone with compromised immunity, living in a space that actively protects them. This isn't just about being eco-friendly. This is about reclaiming health. This is about refusing to accept that our shelter should slowly poison us. The barndominium structure gives us the perfect canvas for this revolution. Those high ceilings? They're not just aesthetic. They allow for stratification of air, for natural convection currents that move air through biofilter zones without mechanical systems working overtime. The open floor plan. It means air flows freely, passing through multiple filtration points throughout the day. And the windows. Oh, the windows. Barndominiums are known for their generous windows, flooding spaces with natural light. But in the eco-biofilter design, those windows are strategically placed to create cross-ventilation that works in concert with the biofilter systems. You're harnessing wind patterns, seasonal changes, the angle of the sun. All of it becomes part of your home's respiratory system. Now let's talk about the roof, because this is where the Barndominium design really shines. That characteristic metal roof, usually chosen for durability and weather resistance. In the eco-biofilter version, it becomes a rainwater harvesting system that feeds the entire biofilter network. Every drop that falls on your home enters the system, gets filtered, gets stored, gets used. Nothing is wasted. But here's what really makes this design sing. It's the monitoring. Because we live in an age where technology and nature can finally dance together. Sensors throughout the home track air quality in real time. You can see on your phone what the particulate count is, what the CO2 levels are, how effectively your biowalls are functioning. The system learns. It adapts. If one area needs more filtration, the airflow adjusts. If the graywater system is reaching capacity, you get alerts before anything backs up that it's intelligent. It's responsive. It's alive. And the cost? Here's where skeptics start to lean in, because the Barndominium structure is already one of the most cost-effective ways to build. Square footage is cheaper. Construction time is faster. And when you integrate biofilter systems during the build rather than retrofitting them later, you're looking at maybe a 15 to 20% premium over a standard Barndominium 15 to 20% to transform a house into a healing machine. Think about what we spend on healthcare, on air purifiers, on water filters and medication and doctor visits for respiratory issues and chemical sensitivities. Think about the long game. An eco-biofilter Barndominium isn't an expense. It's an investment in decades of well-being. But let's go deeper, because there's a philosophical shift happening here that's bigger than construction techniques. For 100 years, we've built homes as if we're at war with nature. We seal everything up. We install systems to control temperature, humidity, air quality, all through brute force and energy consumption. We create these hermetically sealed boxes and then wonder why we feel disconnected, why we're sick, why we're anxious. The eco-biofilter Barndominium asks a different question. What if we partnered with nature instead? What if your home worked the way a forest works? Taking in what's harmful, transforming it, releasing what's beneficial. There's a family in Oregon, one of the first to build an eco-biofilter Barndominium, and the mother told me something that still gives me chills. She said, "My daughter hasn't had an asthma attack in 2 years. 2 years. We thought we'd have to move to the countryside, leave our jobs, uproot everything. Instead, we built a home that breathes for her." That's not marketing speak. That's transformation. And it's not just about health. There's an emotional quality to living in a space that's alive. People report feeling calmer, more grounded. There's something about knowing that your walls are working, that your home is engaged in a constant act of purification and renewal, that changes how you feel about being inside. The Barndominium aesthetic already creates that sense of openness, of honesty, of being connected to something real. The exposed structure, the raw materials, the unfinished beauty of it all. When you add the biofilter elements, the living walls, the visible water systems, you're not hiding the mechanics of life. You're celebrating them. You're saying, this is how we should live. In partnership, in cycle, in harmony. Now, let's talk about scalability, because this is where the story becomes a movement. The principles of eco-biofilter design work at any scale. A tiny 800 square foot barndominium can have a simple gray water system and a single bio wall that transforms the space. A sprawling 3,000 square foot family home can integrate multiple filtration zones, rainwater harvesting, even composting toilets that complete the waste cycle entirely on site. And communities are starting to take notice.